Okay, I've got a question. What does a reality car competition, the VP of strategy, and a spray paint mishap have in common?
Well, somehow, believe it or not, they are all key plot points in 2024's Shifting Gears. I guess buckle up, Jennifer. We've got a lot to talk about.
No, boy. We do, Josh, and we'll unwrap it all on this episode of Do You Watch What I Watch? Here's the plot summary for Shifting Gears, which I originally thought was called Switching Gears, but shifting makes more sense. Here we go. Got it. Car shift. Yeah. After female mechanic Jess reluctantly agrees to participate in a car restoration show, she is shocked to learn that her ex-boyfriend Luke is her main competitor. Will sparks reignite? So I'll begin by saying the leading lady is Jess, the leading male is Luke, and I the whole time was like, who are Luke and Jess? Like, why do I know that is like a couple name? Gilmore Girls.
I was going to say.
Uncle Luke and the nephew Jess, and that's what it was. It was driving me crazy the entire time, and I just realized it before we record. So,
and if anybody was going to get that connection, it was going to be you, loyal Gilmore Girls fan that you are. Yes.
I love Gilmore Girls. I would name a child Lorelai if it would be socially acceptable, but here we are. All right. So we open to a rockin' Motown tune in an auto shop where a beautiful woman, Jess, slowly takes off her face shield, if that's what you call it. I don't know. She tousles her hair like she's in a shampoo commercial, and she's proud of her job painting the body of a car. Is our leading lady Jess on a dating app looking at men? No. She's scoping classic cars. She doesn't need romance. She has her cars. In case you can't tell, she loves cars, and they're going to tell you 8,000 times in the first 10 minutes. She also is really excited about her new class. She's going to teach and empower women to feel comfortable about cars. And a huge crowd shows up, allegedly. It didn't look that huge, but either way, she was very nervous. She had stage fright, and she was going to tell them about spark plugs. Josh, what was your initial thoughts about Jess here?
Well, they are very clearly trying to remind you that she is not like every other woman you've seen in a Hallmark movie. She doesn't run a flower stand. She's not a realtor. She's not an architect or in the marketing space or publishing. She is gritty, and they want you to know it from go. I love, by the way, that we're in Detroit, so it felt very authentic, Motor City, USA. And I really bought the scenery around it all. Yeah.
Yeah, me too. So yes, we're in Detroit. A motorcycle comes rumbling up where a slicked back hair guy named Luke, aka Tyler Hynes, is gussied up in a suit. He pulls over to help a troubled motorist. He fixes the car with the art of a skilled surgeon and then rides off on his merry way. Luke shows up at, quote, Tune Up Wiz late, and the meeting is over. It turns out he's the VP of strategy, I think, and his dad is the owner, who looks not nearly old enough to be his dad. He may be like 3 years older than Tyler Hynes, right?
Dear listener, when I tell you that I had to rewind it twice to confirm that the relationship was father and son, it was 2 times. Because you're absolutely right, Jennifer. It was a weird casting choice because it looks like Big Brother more than Dad. By the way,
it'd be like if you were my dad. Like,
exactly.
You're just a couple years older than me, but you can't pull off Dad.
No, not at all.
I don't know. They've done this in other movies with Hallmark. Come on.
I also have to wonder, Jennifer, do you think Tyler Hynes has it in his contract where he must appear in a leather jacket and riding a motorcycle in every film that he's in? Is that...
And chew on something. Candy cane in a Christmas movie. This movie, it was a toothpick, which we've also seen. So I bet if he did a Western, it'd be like, a piece of like a corn stalk or something.
Something.
A flossing his teeth with hay. Yeah, it has to be those 3 points. And I wonder if at this point in his career, it's been a bit so much that he's just like leaning into the bit now. And they're all in on it. They're like, yep, get your leather jacket out. Let's do the bad boy thing. Bad boy with a good heart kind of trope. But you know what? I'm kind of here for it.
If it's his category, he rocks it. So yeah, I'm here for it.
Rock it. So Dad's the boss. Dad's not happy with his son's performance. And he's like, look, we're going to acquire the Barros Auto Repair for the company's future. Oddly enough, you guessed it, Barros is owned by our leading lady, Jess. Small world or not so small world. Luke wants to spend more time changing transmissions instead of being stuck behind a desk, and he's not happy with his nepotism fate, so he's sort of at a crossroads with his career. What is he to do? Okay, so Jess finds Luke's keys in a bar, and he's like, hey, Jess, because he has this deep voice, and they gaze into each other's eyes, and he's on his way to a date, and she tells him, you look like you sell bonds, which I thought was funny because, in case you haven't caught on, he's corporate now. He doesn't always wear his leather jacket anymore. He's corporate, but still on a motorcycle. But. Their awkward encounter is, well, awkward. They're clearly former lovers. Turns out Luke's dad cut Jess's dad out of Tune-Up Wiz. Luke knew his father's plan back then and said nothing to her while they were dating, so it left her dad blindsided, without a job and a future. So her dad opened up Barros from scratch, and they ended things a while ago. So that's kind of their backstory. And now, whoopsie doodle, right out of the gate, they're back in the small town of Detroit. Humble and small.
Exactly. Small town USA.
Yes. Back at Jess's shop, Wayne LaRoche from Road Renegades comes in, and he ambushes her with a camera crew who is doing a TV show competition called American High Gear. He scouted contestants, and he wants her on it because she's a lady, basically. And I guess she does good work. The top prize is $50,000. She turns him down because she's not the TV type. After all, she did get nervous with that little class about spark plugs, so doesn't think she would do well in front of the camera. He thinks it would inspire a lot of people, having a female contestant, girl power, all of that, and he gives her his card and says, call me if you change your mind. Later that night, she's at dinner with her dad, and he tells her that the landlord is requiring them to pay rent for a year of their property. Did I hear that right?
You did.
A year? Nobody has that kind of money sitting around.
Well, Jennifer, we had to create a major financial catastrophe to forward this plot moving along. I mean, come on.
So after she knows they're in financial trouble, guess what? She's going to the festival. She's going to be on the show. What do you know? When she gets there, Luke's there too. And he tries to reminisce with her, and she's not having it. She's shooting him down. They exchange longing looks, though. And you know what? I think these crazy kids might still have some spark plugs.
Could
But
be.
the producer of the show found Luke as a replacement for the competition, so they'll be battling out, and we are off to the races. Pun number 2, fully intended. There's also 3 other competitors who I thought would be funnier than they were. They just kind of turned out to be weird.
Yeah.
I wanted them to be more like towny vibes, and they weren't.
Right. They were very one note, and I think they tried to make them funny and comic relief, but it didn't come off that way. I mean, they had a guy who was a new dad who tried to make a bunch of jokes about diapers and that sort of thing, which those all sort of felt flat. Yeah.
Like his whole identity was
number one. Anyone with a newborn knows that onesies rarely, if ever, get folded. Literally, you're just kind of throwing them wherever they need to be.
Yeah, they're in like a bin, maybe a sorted bin.
Precisely. Yeah.
Come on.
Weird.
All right. So the show begins filming, and the producer host, Wayne, is very excited at the former lovers like subplot that he's got going on here. We meet the other 3 contestants, and we just talked about that. So there you go. Round 1. They're going to sand down the hood of a car. Okay. Very specific, but
apparently it's own. Yeah.
Luke's sander goes flying towards Jess, and then they get all tangled up, like literally like it's a game of Twister with, at the body shop kind of deal. And they say that the Michigan mechanics are in trouble. Luke, I guess whoever lost got to pick, or they kind of started at the top. So first place winner gets to assign a card to the second place winner that they're going to work on the rest of the show. So somehow Luke was ahead of Jess. He gives her the 66 Thunderbird, and she is not happy because it's the toughest car there to restore. She's offended, but it turns out it's just because Luke believes in her, and he knows she can handle it. Because in case you haven't heard, he's a bad boy with a good heart.
They really want you to know that.
He
They're
is
like,
so supportive of her, like so communicative, so in touch with his feelings.
so communicative. Yes. Yes. Just keep it in the back of your mind that he is a tough guy with a great heart.
So sincere. So sincere. With a toothpick. I shouldn't grab a toothpick and like do the rest with a toothpick in my mouth, but I'd probably end up like stabbing it to the pen. Josh has a pen. That's what you got to do for the swagger on Hallmark.
You know.
Oh boy. So Jess is recapping the day with her bestie about how day one of filming went. And then it takes a stark turn to Jess talking about missing her mom who passed away. How did we get here? What? Because heaven forbid we get through one of these movies with one of the parents having passed away.
Right.
Good grief.
Well, they just needed to give her a little bit more depth, I think, and a little bit more emotion. And I think that they really needed to find something for us to cheer for her beyond her ability to do great work on cars, maybe.
I guess. I liked her anyways. I thought she was a very likable character. So
I did too. Yeah.
All right. So back at the B&B where they're staying, Jess and Luke reconnect over coffee and kind of have a little bit of banter, but it's still kind of icy. So here we are. That's the end of day one. Day two, the competition involves Tyler Hynes chomping on a toothpick and trivia with an elimination. So this is our first elimination round. Jess keeps getting stage fright and freezing. It could be the death of her TV debut. And then her bestie's like, look, I'm going to make it my mission to get you back on track. And then she has her doing yoga, I guess. But it was very like some kind of meditation thing. While Luke is outside of the B&B tossing around the old pigskin with the other contestants. One guy gets eliminated, and we don't know anything about him, so it doesn't matter. Okay. Day three. They're replacing headlights, installing a new battery, and rewiring to get it turned on. It's a team project, and of course, the producers have put Jess and Luke together. And of course, they accidentally hold hands. And of course, they barely win and hug while the crowd goes wild. Day three's in the books. Luke tells his dad to reconsider acquiring Barris. He reluctantly agrees to hit pause on it for now. The dad does. ... Wayne, the host of the show, arranges for the contestants to do a social activity, which includes them going roller skating, which is about as random as you may have pictured in your mind. Tyler Hynes, though, has never looked more at ease than during this scene. He was having a ball. Like, listener, he had both arms out like he was on the front of the Titanic. Like, he was just really vibing with this roller skating scene. And it is funny because usually we were watching Christmas movies where they're ice skating. So it was kind of funny to see them now. There has to be skating, but because we have to accidentally touch each other and help each other physically. But now we're roller skating because it's a March movie.
Exactly. And, there also have to be snacks. So, of course, while we're at the roller skating rink, she winds up, because he is just, a great guy with a heart of gold and knows that she likes pizza and ranch dressing. So that's what he brings her for a snack. And it's just like, oh, they're meant to be. But I had to laugh. I noticed the same thing. I was like, wow, Tyler Hynes is really good at getting around a roller skating rink. I mean, was he like a junior national champion or something? He's out there doing triple lutzes and all of it.
Came alive. It was so funny.
Missed his calling. He missed his calling.
Yeah. And he let the like bad boy thing down for a minute and just came alive on the roller skating floor, rink floor.
Whatever. Yeah.
Whatever it's called. Add us if you have a better term for it. Okay, so the competition contestants have a Q&A because why not? Jess gives quite the heartfelt speech about how cars are at the core of so many of our memories. Everybody's in their feels about it. Then Jess tells Luke that her dream is to not only do restorations, but she has no confidence in herself. She kind of wants to give up like the battery replacement kind of gig and just do restorations. Luke, like always, is overly encouraging and supportive and good with his words. He starts to tell her about the potential acquisition of the office of the shop, but then he backs off. Bad move. Day 4, and they're repairing engines today, and the scores are neck to neck, quote unquote. Is that the saying? Neck to neck?
No, that is not at all the saying. It's neck and neck.
Do we southernize it? Do other cultures say neck to neck?
I lived in Michigan, and I will tell you they do not say neck to neck in Michigan.
Neck to neck. Well, Wayne, the host, does, and she gets her car fired up, and it starts to roll towards her.
Mishap.
Luckily, Luke was there to pull her out of harm's way, and this guy named Ike, the new dad, is eliminated and going home to his baby. Why did the car start to roll towards her?
It was very unclear. very unclear. And
Nobody else did that.
it was like we needed a moment of peril.
Brief. The most brief of moments.
The briefest of moments, because we literally just needed to see him sort of save her. You know what it was, Jennifer? There was no ice for her to slip on and fall into his arms. So we needed something that would force them together physically in a brief moment of peril. Kind of peril, not serious, I might die peril, but just enough to, whoops. Yeah, it was very that.
That's the B-mop, the brief moment of peril.
The B-mop, another term for us here on the pod. It's the B-mop, brief moment of peril.
Off the tongue.
We need a sound effect. We're going to need a sound effect or maybe a jingle. Hey, if you're a great jingle writer, would you write us a jingle for brief moment of peril?
Nick Schwartz could. He wrote our theme song. Shout out. So he's probably like, guys, I've done enough. I can't write all these jingles. I can't do it anymore. Or we could just record brief moment of peril.
Well, then let's put it out there to the universe, to our listeners. Hey, if you want to record a voice memo of you just going, brief moment of peril, and send it to us, do you watch what I watch at gmail.com? Who knows? Who knows? Maybe it shows up in a future episode. We'll see.
That would be awesome.
The B-mop. Anyway.
The B-mop. All right. Well, moving on. Luke and Jess have made it to the dream team. Luke tells his coworker friend, Pete, that he can't keep doing this to her. Pete tells her that he should come clean with Jess, and he doesn't want to add pressure to her. So Luke's like, I don't know. Jess and Luke go on a not date to their old high school for her bestie's daughter photo exhibit, which I thought was like a weird subplot the whole time that I didn't care about. But I guess it was all just so they could get back to their old high school, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they're at their old stomping grounds. And also, sidebar, the bestie's daughter's exhibit featured Jess because she's a strong woman, because she works on cars.
Of course.
Girl power.
Girl power.
So I don't know why, but it cuts to the next scene, and they're like, you want to get some air? Yeah. And it's a scene from behind, and they are both holding umbrellas sitting on the bleachers, like very still and stoic, and it just made me laugh. I don't think it was supposed to, but I wasn't expecting it to be raining, so maybe they weren't either when they filmed it. I don't know. It made me laugh. So Jess grabs Luke's hand, and romantic music swells. He pulls her out on the field after it conveniently stops raining and spins her around, and they dance closely. And I mean closely.
It was... Yeah, the ice has certainly thought. I wrote that in my notes because the hand-holding was very believable. It was very tender, I thought. It was it was this sort of gesture because it was very much this moment of her saying, yes, we have history, and yes, there was drama, but I still want to be with you. It was very that to me, I thought.
Yeah. All right, day 5, it's the final round. You got to complete the restoration and a custom paint job on your assigned car in 2 days. It's anyone's game. They've wiped the scores clean, so it's a clean slate. Jess tells Luke, I'll see you later, and he says, promise? That was kind of cute.
I did too, yeah.
Okay. Luke and Jess's dads meet for drinks, and Luke's dad says he wants to buy Jess's dad's garage. Her dad says no. He bets everything he has every time on his daughter, and maybe you should do the same to Luke. Ouch. Yowza.
Burned.
Luke and Jess talk about the past and kiss in front of the bonfire, and my son was on his tablet nearby while I was watching the movie, and he looked up at this point and he went, that's sus. Because his favorite thing now is to say sus as suspicious or suspect. He didn't really use it appropriately, but everything is sus.
That's still pretty cute. Yeah.
Sus daddy. So he thought the kiss was sus. I thought it was cute. Day 6, Jess is ready to paint to some Motown tune. She's vibing. Motown was her mom's favorite music, so we get a nod to the mom. Luke says, hey, can I take you to dinner later? I have some things I want to talk to you about. She's like, that doesn't sound great, but okay. She leaves because her car is done. Pristine, painted like cherry red. Mwah, chef's kiss. Luke's dad shows up and says, I presented Jess's dad with an offer, and is like telling him about it. And Jess overhears the bad part of the conversation, not the part where Luke is trying to save her business. And oopsie doodle.
Indeed.
Then it gets worse. So she walks away to gather her thoughts. Luke then is trying to, their cars are next to each other in this garage, and there's clear plastic tarp thing between them. right? And they're like little painting booths. Something was wrong with his paint sprayer, and he accidentally sprays blue paint on her car, which is next to his. And I went, oh no, oopsie doodle part 2. And I was actually like cringing.
Yeah, I cringed too. It was totally an accident. And I wrote in my notes, this is a double oopsie doodle because we've got this. It throws the relationship into question, and then it throws her ambition in the competition into question. So it was a very layered oopsie doodle, I thought.
And her future. I mean, can they save
Indeed, can they save the shop? It's all in jeopardy. I thought, as oopsie doodles go, this is one of the best maybe I've seen in one of these. Anyway.
Yeah. It was really fascinating to watch. So Jess walks in and sees her car destroyed and somber music is playing. And Luke comes back and he's like, it was an accident. And so I do appreciate they actually stand and talk to each other for a minute instead of her just like running off right away. She eventually runs away, but she does give him a minute to try to explain himself. She just doesn't really believe it. She thinks he only entered the competition to sabotage her from winning the money. Not a good look. They part ways. Luke talks to his dad the next day about the Barris plan or sometime. I don't know if it's the next day or not. Who knows what time. But anyways, he's talking to his dad. And he says, if you don't call off the acquisition, I'm quitting. Jess's dad then has a heart-to-heart with her and doesn't see the sabotage in Luke's heart. Luke's dad shows up at the B&B to talk to Jess. He's tracked her down. And he has a very heartfelt conversation with her and regrets making Luke choose between her and his family. He apologizes to her. It seems sincere. And she's like, okay, I want to go talk to Luke. Turns out he did quit his father's business, and now he wants to quit the competition, and they reconcile. That's a big act of love. A big act of love. I quit my job, and I'll quit the $50,000.
Yeah. He put it all out there on the line, I thought. Yeah.
Okay. So it's time for the big reveal. Into the competition, and Jess has a blue and red swirl something custom paint job that is actually pretty baller. The crowd goes wild. And she ends up being the first winner ever. Wait, I thought this was an existing show. This is all a new show?
This is all a new
show. The other guy, the host used to have a different show that she watched with her dad?
Yes. The show is some sort of, I don't know. I thought it was like an American Pickers, but automotive kind of show, the way it was presented. Yeah, this is his new show. Yeah. So American High Gear.
I liked that her car was still jacked up and she made it look good because I thought they were all going to chip in, like dads, Luke, the other contestants, whoever, the whole town was going to chip in and help her like sand her car or strip it and then refinish it back to the color it was. But I like that she took the mess up and turned it into something beautiful. I thought that was really cool. So the dads chatted up and Tune Up Wiz wants to invest more in the community and their values. And so the dads are friends again and they're going to go get coffee and talk about future business partnerships. Or something kind of unclear. Doesn't really matter. Anyways, the bestie is like, hey, let's take a picture of Luke and Jess in front of Luke's car. Well, Luke's car didn't win. Why were we in Luke's car?
I thought the same.
See, men still find their way to weasel in even though the woman won. You're all the same. Anyways. Okay. Anywho. Then turns out Jess just came alive so much in front of the camera as the season went on that she gets her own show. And it's Community Garage, which is going to breathe new life into old rides and then benefit those in need. I love the idea. It was super random, but we get Luke and Jess presumably dating or more. They're co-hosting the show together. She's going to do the exterior. He's going to do the interior and the bones. And they say, buckle up. It's going to be a wild ride.
Ugh. Pun. All right, it is time for our gold or coal segment. And if you're new to our podcast, what we do is Jennifer and I each get to give 3 different gifts, some gold, some coal. In this one, if there's more gold, we're going to call it a revving engine. And if there's more coal, it's going to be a dead battery. And if it's a tie, 3-3, we're just going to call it meh. So Jennifer, give us your first gift. What do you think?
My first gift will be gold. The chemistry. I thought they really were a believable couple. I believe that they had history in the past. I thought they were cute together. I was invested in them. I rooted for them. Everything I want in these little couples in these movies. So, gold.
I agree. Gold for me, I liked the dad and daughter relationship here. I thought it was just really well done. It was believable. The guy that they cast to be her dad was 1000% a dad and
An age
said the right age appropriate, said the right things, stuck up for her, was encouraging, but didn't handhold, believed the best of it. He was just great. And their relationship, I thought, was really great. And I thought really supported the plot nicely.
And I like that he didn't try to like sugarcoat anything. He was like, it's going to be fine, but here's where we're at. Like, he didn't handhold too much because they are, I guess, business partners, or she's certainly invested in the company. So, yeah, I like that a lot.
Yep.
You took one of mine. So, I will come back to my other one. But I will give some coal, kind of like I alluded to earlier. The other competitors were so cheesy, and one note that it was, I think, a missed opportunity for greatness. I think I can be fine with quirk. But I don't know. I wish there was a little more flourish.
More flourish.
And like, would they really all be hanging out like that? Like, they were kind of just palling around.
Yeah, probably not.
$50,000 is at stake.
Well, that being said, though, I am going to give some gold because I did like this subplot of having this competition series because it gave us things throughout this movie that they were doing and doing together and that I actually thought was pretty interesting. You know, having to put together the headlight or having to fix the engine, having to do the paint job. It was actually really fun to watch those things unfold. And I thought the way they shot them and edited them were great. We got some montages that I didn't have on my Hallmark Channel bingo card, you know. I just thought it was kind of a fun little way of doing things.
I really like that. I would watch a show like that, and I don't even care about cars. So
Absolutely.
That was fun. I will give gold, although it was a little over the top for Tyler Hynes. His character being so supportive and so communicative. I kind of mocked it, but it is what we need more of in this world. We need some men who can just really be supportive and vocalize that and be okay if somebody wins and beats them. So
great. Yeah. So your total was 2 gold and 1 coal, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm at 1 and 1. And so my final gift is going to be coal. And here's why.
Oh, why?
And Jennifer, you might disagree with me on this. I think Tyler Hynes is a great actor, and I think he has really found his niche at Hallmark Channel, and things he does I generally really like. What I have noticed in some of these movies is that because he does this smolder thing where he talks a lot like this, and he really is quiet and kind of monotone in this way where you just kind of hang on to every word he says, a lot of times the women that he's with, and I don't think they do this purposefully, but I think that their energy comes down a lot because they try to match what he's doing vocally. And what winds up happening for me is some of these scenes just wind up feeling really sleepy to me. And I'm talking about the campfire scene, some of these just side conversations, the bleachers. Yeah, I mean, they just sort of feel a little sleepy and slow to me because I think sometimes the women feel like they've got to match his energy to make it meaningful. And I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking it. What do you think?
I don't agree with you, but that's okay. That's what we're here for. Agreed on everything. That would be really boring, sleepy podcast.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
No, I don't agree at all. But I agree that can happen sometimes. Or I think in the past they will pair him with an actress who is not as strong because they rely so heavily on him. Here, I thought she was great. And
she was. Yeah.
So
she was great.
I was happy with that match.
Yeah.
That's okay. You're entitled to your opinion. It's a safe place, except Hynes at Josh.
Please don't. I'm busy this week. I don't have time for that. So the bottom line, Jennifer, we had 3 gold, 3 coal. We're just going to give it a meh, kind of middle of the road for us overall, which
I don't agree.
I don't agree either. So I think it's better than
last week's a meh. Did we end up? You were higher low end than this movie. Are you serious?
Which, you know, in hindsight, does not make sense. Yeah, no. Well,
it's fine. The ratings stand. It's fine.
Listen, I had 2 gold and 1 coal, right? You had 2 and 1. So I'm doing wrong math. It's 4 and 2.
What were your 2 gold? The dad-daughter
relationship and that I liked the reality show subplot. So those are both gold for me. So we're
Okay.
This feels right. Sorry, dear listener, my math was off. I'm tired.
We didn't have our abacus calibrated properly for that.
Yikes. Anyway,
good.
4-2. We loved it.
Right. It's a revving engine.
We're going to call it a revving engine. And it does feel right. This one was good. It was fun to watch. Great chemistry. I liked the plot. I liked the way they shot it and edited it. It was a fun watch for me.
Yeah. How about the cry count? Did you cry any?
I didn't. I didn't cry in this one.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think you were supposed to. Ask me if I napped.
Did you nap?
I did not.
See?
So
Okay.
I stayed awake and dry-eyed.
There you go. Perfect. Exactly what we wanted, Nix. And that, dear friends, is another episode of Do You Watch What I Watch?
Special thanks as always to Nick Shores for our theme song and to you for listening or watching.
If you like our podcast, do us a favor, smash that subscribe button on YouTube or give us a like on your podcasting channel. Also, feel free to write a review or leave a comment. The engagement is a lot of fun for Jennifer and I, plus it really helps us in the algorithms to grow our community. Connect with us on all of our social media channels by visiting our website at doyouwatchwhatiwatch.com. Hey, stay tuned to our social channels because we are going to be deciding what we're going to be watching, recapping, and reviewing coming up in April, and we want you part of the conversation too. One thing's for sure, you know we will have plenty to talk about, and as always,
May your days be merry and bright. We'll see you next time.